Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Camera On. In 2021 I was working on a project with a manager named Mark, who was extremely strict about following the rules. He was the type of person who didn't allow any casual conversation in his team and absolutely loved office days, despite the fact that our team was external and all of us lived really far away. At the time I was managing a chronic illness, which was relatively under control, with regular hospital infusions every few weeks. Since Mark wasn't one for small talk, he had no idea about my condition. One day I was at the hospital, working from my bed with an IV line in one arm. We had our daily meeting scheduled, and I figured it would be fine to join without my camera on. They could hear me just fine, and I didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable by having the infusion line in view. As soon as I joined, Mark immediately pointed out that he couldn't see my face. I simply said I wasn't using my camera that day, and left it at that, thinking it was just a 15-minute call. I could have been driving or dealing with something personal. After the meeting, Mark asked me to stay back on the call. I agreed, and he proceeded to reprimand me for not turning on my camera, insisting that it was a team rule that everyone needed to be on video. Fine, I turned on my camera. I watched as his expression changed from frustration to shock when he saw me sitting in what was clearly a hospital room. I calmly told him that I wasn't comfortable being on camera while receiving treatment, but still didn't elaborate on what it was for. The look on his face was unforgettable. The next story is called Mandatory Meeting. Many years ago, when I was still new to working the night shift at a hotel, the manager called a grand and mighty meeting. All hands on deck. A mandatory meeting of great importance. New policies and procedures. Lunch provided. Absolutely crucial, and of course very mandatory. I read the notice and let the manager know that none of the topics apply to my role as a night auditor. Housekeeping, maintenance, things like that were not exactly my concern at 3 AM. I asked if I could just skip it. My request was denied. Apparently it would be unfair if everyone else had to attend and I didn't, even though the topics didn't affect my job. I was told to be there at noon or face a write-up. Since this was before online inventory searches, it took a few calls. But I finally found what I needed, 20 miles away. After my shift, I went home for a short nap before the meeting. The manager arrived, eager to begin his presentation, but quickly noticed his employees stealing glances at the back corner of the room. There I was, plaid pajamas, dark blue bathrobe, sleeve-ruffled hair, dark circles under my eyes. I may have added a little extra with makeup. And on my feet, a brand new pair of fuzzy bunny slippers I had gone out of my way to buy just for this occasion. The manager sputtered a protest, but I pointed out that for me, this was effectively 3 in the morning. So this presentation had better be worth it. Spoiler, it was not worth it. Not a single item on the agenda had anything to do with my job. Not one. To make matters worse, the free lunch, a rather impressive fried rice and chicken casserole, was completely off limits for me due to medical issues. As the event wrapped up with everyone else enjoying their meal, I walked up to my manager, looked him in the eye as much as I could. Again, I was tired, and told him exactly what a massive waste of time this had been. I informed him that I would not be attending any more mandatory meetings. If something was important, a memo would suffice. And that is how I got out of meetings forever. There were more meetings after that. I was never invited again. I did, however, attend the manager's going away party. That was nice. The last story is called Keep It Up. I've been working in IT for around 25 to 26 years now. Different companies, but you see a lot of interesting workplace dynamics in the IT world. Back in 2005, I worked for a major telephone company that had the typical Jira-like bug reporting tool for one of its most complex and convoluted software systems. The software was so intricate, so legacy, that even the in-house development team was hesitant to make changes. Previous updates had caused major issues more than once, so even the smallest adjustment required weeks of analysis before it could be implemented. 3 of my college friends worked on that dev team. I was in a different department with a slightly easier workload. One of those friends was Bedu. To describe Bedu properly, imagine the guy who's always pulling harmless pranks, constantly saying outrageous things just for the fun of it, knows a little bit of magic and uses it for jokes, and is a die-hard soccer fan. He was good at his job, but over time became less enthusiastic, procrastinating and putting in minimal effort. Working on that particular software certainly didn't help. It wasn't a fast-paced environment, and the lack of activity made it easy to get bored. So to pass the time, Bedu played pranks. One classic example, he connected a second wireless mouse to a colleague's computer and would occasionally move the cursor. The poor guy called tech support 4 times, before someone finally let him in on the joke. Once a week, the team also booked a windowless meeting room. Not for work, but for a carefully coordinated nap. 3 people slept, while the 4th stood guard. The guard rotated weekly. Now about the work itself. Bedu primarily handled requests like, "This report shows X is 25, but it should be 27. Please fix it." Each request typically came from a different department, and each department sent a couple of requests per month. But Bedu knew that the algorithm calculating those values was incredibly complex. Reports were generated in massive batch processes that took hours. Testing changes was an absolute nightmare. So instead of fixing the root cause, he simply updated the displayed number on the report. Was 25, now it's 27. Problem solved, see you next month. He received around 10 to 15 of these requests per day, and always logged the same comment in the bug tracking tool. End value verified and corrected. Then came a new boss, a manager from another department, known throughout the company as, let's say, not the sharpest tool in the shed. He immediately clashed with the team. He believed that quantity equaled quality and was obsessed with tracking numbers. Coming from a database background, he loved running queries, but had no real understanding of the system's complexity. To him, every resolved ticket meant a real underlying issue had been fixed, never considering that the system might not be that simple. One day he called a team meeting. He had run a query and discovered that most comments in the bug tracker were short, less than 50 characters. That, he declared, was unacceptable. The team explained that their notes were already sufficient. He had disagreed. From now on, comments had to be at least 1,000 characters long. Anything shorter would negatively impact his assessment of their work. Enter Bedu. Frustrated but also sensing an opportunity, he came up with a plan. Knowing the boss never actually checked the bug tracker, he only pulled reports from his databases, Bedu decided to comply, but in his own way. For the first ticket of the day, he fixed the value and added his usual comment. End value verified and corrected. Then, taking advantage of the fact that the comment field had formatting options, like a word processor, he copied and pasted the full match report from the latest soccer game, changed the text color to white, shrank the font size to 1 so it was invisible, and closed the ticket. Since the original ticket requester could only read the comments, not edit them, no one would ever see what was really there, unless they happened to highlight the text. For the next ticket he did the same thing, but with a long-winded rant about something random. Then another, filled with nothing but random letters and spaces, until it hit the character requirement. Eventually he got creative. Somewhere deep within that bug tracker, hidden within those comments, a fully original Bedu novel was written, piece by piece across countless tickets. Only those of us who had lunch with Bedu and his team knew what was really going on. A month later, the boss approached him. Bedu, I've noticed your comment lengths have improved significantly. You are averaging well over 1,000 characters per ticket. Keep it up. Bedu, along with the rest of us, left for better jobs a year later. We still talk daily. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.